Welcome to Generating Gratitude, a look at personal growth in a grateful life. What follows is not professional advice or medical recommendation, but stories and perspectives about living with gratitude. Now, here is your host, Joe Volk.
Welcome, everybody, to another blazing edition of Generating Gratitude. I'm Joe, your host. Thanks again to my friends at Connoisseur Media that let me do this every week. And if you're a regular to the program, and even if you're a little irregular, you can't be hateful and you can't be grateful at the same time. Gratitude. It's all about the gratitude, man. It's hard to be grateful sometimes, especially when things are dire. But it's absolutely necessary as a coping mechanism, especially in today's world. My first guest today is Tim. Tim is a graduate of drug court. I think 101st graduate of drug court. Tim, welcome to Generating Gratitude.
How's it going?
Now, Tim, explain to everybody what drug court is.
Well, recovery court, so like in the beginning, phase one, you got to do 7 meetings a week, one a day, and then you got your report date. You got to see Amanda once a week and Nicole once a week, and then you do you got your one-on-ones, and then you got your group meetings. So pretty much the phase one is just pretty much working all about your recovery and getting acclimated to the program. Like, they really set the foundation to really going outside your resources and getting all the help you can get. So, like, for me, I didn't have a driver's license or anything, and my biggest thing was asking for help. So it really gets you used to asking people for help and relying on other people.
Well, the amazing thing about recovery court, and this is a program in Midland County, and a lot of other counties have similar. It's really, Tim, the last chance you have.
Yeah.
It's
so
it's that, or
like for me.
Yeah, go ahead. It's you, because it's that we finally learned that throwing addicts and alcoholics in jail doesn't really work. Doesn't really help them at all, and we just have to deal with the problem later.
Yeah, and like for me too, because I've been to prison 3 different times, and it really was the last chance for me, because it was either looking at 4 to 8 years or recovery court, and actually changing my thought process and pretty much everything about me. And so it was either go to 4 years or recovery court, and I chose recovery court because obviously I didn't want to keep doing the same things. I wanted to make a change. And even like I told Amanda and everybody on the drug court thing, like, if it wasn't for them, I probably would have never got sober. Like, they really are amazing people. They're not like any other probation or anything like that. They truly want to see you succeed, and they put all the resources right at your fingertips as long as you're willing to utilize them.
And it's amazing how motivated you can be when you're staring at 4 to 8 years, right?
Yeah.
Has that little extra motivation, doesn't it? Tim, tell us a little bit about your story.
All right, so like, I've been on probation since I've been 13, and I was addicted to meth, alcohol, weed, and after my mom died in 2012, I kind of really just went downhill. 2014, I went to prison again for maintaining operating a meth lab, and then I got out and I was clean for a little bit, and I got relapsed, and this time I ended up getting a possession with the intent to distribute out of Aranet County. And I was just like in a really dark place. Like, I didn't have no self-worth, no self-love. I didn't even really care if I was alive. I was suicidal. And like, drug court literally saved my life is what it did. It gave me a whole new look on life. Like, they showed me things that I probably should have been shown 20 years ago. And, the help that I probably should have had a long time ago. But yeah, so I've been to prison, all for dope charges. I've been there 3 times. I got roughly 9 years in prison. And yeah, so I've been clean and sober, off everything for a little over a year. I did have a relapse in the middle of it, like a 10-day relapse, but I hit my year mark May 6th from the meth, and then from alcohol and weed and everything else, I got like 650 days clean.
How did you get started on meth?
I started drinking when I was like 13, and I always just hung out with the older kids. And it started out with cocaine first, and then like the meth epidemic hit, and my buddy was cooking, and that's how I kind of got introduced to that when I was like 14.
And how long did you use meth?
I've used meth on and off since I've been 14, so I got roughly 22 to 24 years.
How did you stay alive that long, man? Usually meth, what people don't know about meth is meth's a hell of a drug to get off, and usually meth kills most of the people that are long-term addicted to it.
It does, because, you get so used to the energy, and, like everybody thinks that it brings out your best personality. It just pretty much just masks all your feelings and just allows you to be out of control, really, is all it does.
Well, and
like it don't help with none of your feelings. It don't help with your pain, because once you're sober, it's all right there still, and you got to deal with it one way or another. But it just pretty much puts a mask over you, so you can just do whatever you want with no feelings.
And meth is, like they say, is a hell of a drug. What does years of meth abuse do to you physically?
Personally, I could say that I probably got lucky, because the only thing that it's really messed up on me is my teeth. But, it definitely whittles away at your body, and I'm sure it cuts your lifespan probably in half. But, the anorexic part looking, your face all sunk in, obviously because you're always dehydrated, you never drink enough. And I'm sure the long-term effects are probably a lot worse than what I've seen. Like I said, I've gotten lucky. I'm in pretty good health. I don't have no health issues or anything like that, so I pretty much got lucky there. But obviously your lungs, your body, you're taking in all them chemicals, drain cleaner, lithium, and a whole bunch of stuff that's not supposed to be in your body. So scars from people picking, and I don't know, there's a lot of side effects to it.
Yeah, meth, again, is a hell of a drug. We're talking to Tim, who's a successful graduate of Recovery Court in Midland County. And, Tim, first time you went to jail, what was it for?
First time I went to jail was just a probation violation when I was 16 for dropping dirty for weed. But not long after that, it was for resisting obstruction, causing injuries to 4 officers, because I had a bunch of cocaine in the car, and I tried running, and then I ended up in a fight with the cops.
Yeah, that never ends well.
No, it don't. They always win.
And you went to prison 3 times?
Yeah.
What?
I went once for the assault on the officers, and then I got maintaining, operating a meth lab. Well, I actually got 2 of them. And then the second time I went to prison, I had like 8 or 9 charges between possessions, lab charges, resisting obstruction. And then the third time I went was for possession of meth.
Now, was fentanyl involved in any of this?
No, I didn't. No, I was never a heroin or fentanyl user.
Okay. Yeah, that's amazing. Prison is a horrible experience, because you don't really learn anything in prison except for A, survival, and B, how to become a better criminal. Is that?
Yeah, that's all it is. You just learn to do things better. You obviously, from all the criminals, you just learn all their tricks, and I guess it all depends on what you want to take out of it. Like the last time I went to prison, though, I went and I did do my welding certificate, and I did the year-long welding class, and I tried to make the best out of my last prison term. my second one wasn't very good. I got into the gangbang and stuff, and I didn't really think I was getting out on my second one, so I kind of went in there with the chip on my shoulder and did the gangbanging and all the drinking and all the dumb stuff that comes along with it. And I don't think it benefited me none, because I got out not even 2 years later. I was caught another charge and was heading right back. So
Right, it was just a cycle.
it's a vicious cycle, and it's a hard one to get out of. And that's why, like this time, they were wanting to send me back. They literally didn't make the decision to send me to drug court until my sentencing date. And so happy that they did, because, like I said, it set a whole new ground rules for me of, like, knowing that people are actually out there to help you, and they're not always out there to use you, and that there are people that truly do care and want to see you succeed. And where I'm working at now with Buddy Answer, like, he really helped the whole experience that much better too, because he kind of worked around my schedule, and he's all about the recovery, and everybody that works with us is in recovery. So I just really put the support group there, and like, Buddy's really good. Amanda Nicole, the judge, the prosecutor, because I caught a driving on suspended too, and the prosecutor reached out to Crawford County and helped me out with that, because I'm in the process of getting my license back in September. So he went out of his way and just went and got it dropped down so it didn't go to the Secretary of State's, and that way I can still get my license in September. Like, the drug court team is really, like, they do a lot more than a lot of people really realize it, because they go above and beyond to try to get you to exactly where you need to be successful.
And we're talking to Tim. Tim, we're going to take a short break here on Generating Gratitude. When we come back, we'll talk more about your recovery. Your story is just amazing. Your story is amazing because it just shows what can happen if we get a little bit creative. And I'll continue with that train of thought in just a bit. You're listening to Generating Gratitude here on WSGW. Welcome back to Generating Gratitude here on WSGW. Talking to Tim. Tim's a graduate of Recovery Court in Midland County. 101st graduate of Recovery Court. Now, before we went to commercial, Tim, you were talking about the Recovery Court program, where it's different and it's creative, and it tries to deal with the addiction, because again, with Recovery Court, the goal is to A, have you recover, and B, they never want to see you in the criminal justice system again.
Right.
Explain what it did for you. Like, before, you were into prison like 2 or 3 other times, and they just basically, no counseling, no nothing, we'll just throw you in jail. Where Recovery Court looks to deal with your addiction issues.
Yeah, so they look at more than just like your addiction. Like, they literally set like the ground rules for like the basic living. And I think like what really helped me too is really having people that really cared and showed that they wanted to see me do good. So kind of, because like when I started it, like I wasn't even really doing it for myself. I was doing it for my sisters, because my little sisters had some little mental health issues and stuff too. So I was really worried about like what was going to happen to them. So that's where I started my drug court. I was doing it for them. And then within a couple months of being there and all the support and the way they really do care about you, like they get right into your life to where you don't have no wiggle room to do anything outside or wrong. And it really helped me, because it set a good foundation of doing the next right thing and quit worrying about what other people were thinking or like how other people were looking at me. And it really got me outside my shell to learn to love myself again, the self-worth, and really gave me a purpose to living. Like, that's what I was missing. Like, that's where I was at with the drug abuse and everything. So having people really show that they cared and wanted to see me do good and just being there in all aspects, like no matter what type of help I needed, they were there. So, yeah, that's what really helped me.
In your recovery, Tim, how long did it take you to drop the resentments? Because most of us addicts, most of us alcoholics, we have a lot of resentments. We have some problems up there, and when it comes to resentments, and like I've often said, resentments are mental cancer, where you can't just have a little resentment. That resentment in our addict or alcoholic mind just grows and grows and grows until pretty soon we're living with a bunch of hate and self-pity. How long did it take you for you to get rid of those resentments?
It took, I think it took a good 7-8 months before, before the resentment really went away. Because, I was doing good in the beginning. Like I said, I had 7-8 months of just straight clean time, and I thought I was doing everything good. And like I said, that resentment, and so I think that's what led to my first relapse. So, and then once I went to rehab, on that relapse, I did a lot of self-reflection and kind of trying to figure out what got me to the relapse. And I think that's exactly what it was, is all the resentment and, being sober, but not really changing a whole lot of other things. So I really had to take a look at myself, and I got a lot of stuff off my shoulders. So that really helped. I think about 7-8 months to get rid of that resentment. It's definitely, I think that was the biggest and hardest thing to actually overcome, was that resentment. And it was a good 7-8 months, I'd have to say, at least.
How long did it take you, Tim, to trust the court officials? Because there's an adversarial relationship, cops and robbers. And what you learn in prison, that the authorities are not my friends.
So it took me a good 3-4 months to realize that they were truly there to help us, and not like any other probation or parole officer. Like, they weren't waiting for that next mess up, or they're not waiting for you to do wrong. It was probably a good 3-4 months before I really started actually talking to them and letting them fully in. Because, like you said, though, coming into the program straight off the streets or anything like that, you're not really expecting them to completely understand, and they really do. Like what they do, they're really good at their jobs, and they're really good at reading people. And yeah, it took me a good 3-4 months before I truly started actually talking to them and letting them fully in.
Because in prison, that's a sign of weakness, and if you have any sign of weakness in prison, man, you're going to get.
Oh yeah, you don't talk to the cops in there. You don't do nothing with the authorities in there. They're not your friends in there.
No, that's they're far from it. Now, today, Tim, what are some of the things you do to stay sober?
Well, I work, and I'm working on this. I'm finally, because after I caught the charge, I've been living with my sister, so I found this trailer. I've been working on that for 2 months now, remodeling it. I about got it to where I can start moving things in. And I spend a lot of time with my family and my dog, and, I've cut all my old friends out. I don't speak to none of the old people I used to, so just I try to just do little things like to the park, hang out with some family, and I haven't really ventured out too far yet. I just try to stick to what I've been doing, and that's just hanging out at the house with I got 2 brand new nieces and nephews at the house, so that kind of helps. And then I got my sisters, but I mainly been just working and put my time into this trailer to try to get to move in that. So I think I'm to the point where I can start moving stuff in this week. So
that's amazing, Tim. Think of how far you've come from 3 times.
Way too far to ever turn around and go backwards. I do know that.
We have a minute left, Tim. Give me some stuff that you're grateful for.
I'm grateful to be sober and alive today. I am truly grateful for Buddy, the recovery team, my family, my dog, and truly most grateful for myself, because obviously we got to put in the work and we got to want it to even make it all possible. And if I'd have gone off from 2 years ago to be standing where I'm at now, I would have never even ever said that I love myself today, and that I'm just so proud of myself for making it to where I'm at, and just grateful to see all the positive and fun things to come.
Dude, you should be grateful, man. 24 years of meth and you made it alive.
Yeah. Even like the things I've done in the last 2 years doesn't even amount to the things I've done in the last 30 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just truly grateful to be alive and sober and have my family back to speaking terms, and about to be moving into my own place again. And, just everything from here is going up, and, truly grateful for Amanda, Nicole, Judge Beal, Buddy Answer, Marissa, all them guys from the recovery court team, J&A, Heather, your wife. There's just so many people that's involved in it. It's just, and it's just amazing that they're all willing to just put everything out there for people, and do everything they can to just help somebody else. It's just truly amazing.
All right, Tim. Thank you very much, Tim, for being on Generating Gratitude. Your story is inspiring, and it just goes to show you what can happen if we use a little creativity. You're listening to Generating Gratitude here on WSGW.
Now it's time for more great moments in gratitude with your host, Joe Volk.
Welcome back to Generating Gratitude here on WSGW. Joe, your host still. Thanks to my friend Tim telling his story on drug court. It's amazing what happens when people get creative. You combine creativity with desperation. Amazing things can happen. I often say on the show, you can't be hateful and you can't be grateful. And sometimes it's damn hard to be grateful. Sometimes you have to generate that gratitude, even in the worst of situations. Right now, I'm generating gratitude because my friend Gail, she was a guest on one of my original shows, telling what it was like to live with cancer. And then even initially beating cancer. Well, a couple of weeks ago, Gail lost her battle. Gail lost her battle to cancer. And I'm very grateful to have known Gail. She was a wonderful, wonderful, amazingly optimistic human being who helped a lot of people going through this terrible, terrible disease. And one of the great things about Gail was her sense of humor. I remember spending time with her when she first lost her hair, and we had a great time with that. And you would think that losing your hair would be pretty traumatic. But Gail did it with humor. And she helped me. Whenever I realized that I would want to get on that self-pity pot, I would call Gail up, talk to Gail and her battle with cancer, and then realize that, you know what, my stuff really wasn't bad stuff at all. So I thought the best way to honor Gail would be to play some of the interview. And again, Gail was the second show that we ever did here on WSGW, Generating Gratitude. And when I go back and I listen to it, and I'm just amazed by her optimism and her energy. And I'll never forget that. And so, as a tribute to my friend Gail, here's some of our interview on generating gratitude. Now, my guest is Gail Wilson. Gail's a friend of mine and a cancer survivor. I worked with Gail for a while, and her story is amazing. Gail, are you with us?
I am.
Gail, tell us a little bit about how they discovered, that you had cancer.
Well, I did not have any symptoms until one day when I went to the bathroom. I thought that I was done, and then I was not, and I thought, well, that's a little different. And then it happened the next morning, so I called the doctor the next day, and I went in, and she felt some firm mass in my lower abdomen. And that afternoon, I did an ultrasound. That was on a Tuesday. And then on Friday at 1 a.m., I did a MRI. And then on Tuesday of the next week, they called and told me that I had ovarian cancer.
What's that like? The moment that, you're sitting down with your doctor and your doctor says the C word. What ran through your head? What kind of emotions did you go through? Was it a shock thing? Was it what was going on?
So I was supposed to work that morning at 10, and I thought I was going to hear something on Monday, and I did not. So I did not want to be at work and get the phone call with the results. So I did not go to work that day, and my husband also stayed home that day. And when they called with the results, I answered the phone. And it so happened, I happened to be on the phone with my oldest daughter. We were FaceTiming, and I said, I got to go. The doctor's calling. And everybody in the family knew that I was waiting for the doctor for the results. And so then I answered the phone, and she was very blunt right off the get-go. Hi, Gail, this is so-and-so. We got your results, and I'm sorry to say you have ovarian cancer.
Oh, what?
And
yeah, what?
Yeah.
Did you pause for a second? When did it hit you?
So I was sitting there, and I was holding the phone, and I kind of went numb. And my husband took the phone because I think she asked another question after that, and I was just kind of filled. I mean, I was just like numb, and it was processing. And he was still talking to her, and she was telling me like what was going to happen next, and I was in complete shock.
It's kind of like
so
that.
That's when it hit me.
It's kind of like that moment where you're in your own world in your head and people are talking, but it's just, blah, 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 and you're just trying to process it.
Yes, it was a buzzing sound, like when you're just like, it's zoning out, and yep, that's exactly what it was like.
How difficult was it to tell your family, even though that everybody was waiting for it? How difficult was it to tell your family? How difficult was it to tell your friends?
So I got off the phone with it, and it was a physician's assistant that had called me. And so I got off the phone with her, and I said, and my husband looked at me, and he said, "You're going to be fine. We got this. No worries. It's okay." And he was, confirming, all the things that I was fearing right then and there. And I said, I have to call my daughter back because I was on FaceTime, and she knows. So she's sitting at home knowing that the doctor called, going, okay, Mom's going to call me back. So I maybe within like 5 minutes, I called her, I FaceTimed her so that she could see my face. And she looked at me, and I just kind of shook my head, and I said, it's cancer. And she started crying, and I said, it's going to be okay. I said, we're gonna, attack it with everything we have. And I said, it's going to be okay. And that was hard. And then my other daughter, she was still sleeping. And so I waited until she woke up and told her. And I really don't remember telling other family members. That I really don't remember what it was like telling the rest of them, but because those two were my main concern. And so we just went from there.
How many times, like in the middle of the night, did you wake up and did it hit you that like maybe next year at this time you're not going to be here, or like every conversation you have with somebody could be your last conversation?
So that happened a lot, and so because it happened I found out on May 2nd, and let's see, it wasn't until I called. So Midland didn't have any openings for me, so I called Ann Arbor, and I was on the phone, and they said with them, and they said we don't have any openings until like I think it was the end of May or beginning of June, and all of a sudden she goes, "Oh, well, it looks like a opening just opened up, May 11th. Can you take that appointment?" I was like, "Yes," and so I would wake up because I had that time from May 2nd till May 11th to meet with the oncologist. So I had all that time to, of course, get in my head. I tried to stay off of Google, and I even though I had my report, like my reports in the portal, I was trying at first to decipher them, and I'd look at them, and then I'd look back at Google to see what the results of that were. I was just trying to figure everything out, and then finally everybody was like, "You have to stop. You have to stop. Stay off of the internet," But yeah, it consumed my mind 24/7. And there were things that we did. My youngest daughter was going to prom, and I could tell, like looking back in those prom pictures, that's all that was on my mind. I wasn't in the moment of prom. I was thinking, this is going to be my last pictures with them. I thought, this is going to be my last Christmas coming up. I don't even know if I'm going to make it to Christmas because I didn't know even what the procedures were after. I had no idea what was going to happen down the road or where my path was going.
Now, you and I discussed this about mentally filling in the blanks. The most difficult thing about cancer, or the most difficult thing about substance abuse, or the most difficult thing about being an alcoholic is staying in the present. What do we know today? What are the facts today, and not filling in those blanks in our head. And I know you and I had that conversation. How many times did you, fill in the blanks in your head, and they were all negative?
A lot. And yeah, looking back, yeah, you and I did have those conversations, and other people in my family would say, "Remember what Joe told you? Joe told you, don't fill in the blanks. Don't fill in the blanks. Go from appointment to appointment and don't fill in the blanks in between." And it's hard to do, but I had a great support team. You and my family, it was great.
And when you're dealing with chemo and all that other stuff that you have to with cancer, probably the best phrase that I could come up with is and maybe you'll agree with this, maybe not, is hurry up and wait. Because all treatment is hurry up and wait. We want it now. What's that?
Yep.
What's that like, dealing with the treatment?
So, and it happens quickly. So, I had a surgery on June 6th. I came home. I did fantastic through the surgery. I came home June 8th, and they were calling. Let's see, I had my surgery on a Tuesday. I came home on Thursday, and they called on Monday and said, "Okay, we need to set up all your chemo, and we need to set up this, and we need to set up that." And I'm like, I just had major surgery, 6 days ago. I got to start this. I said, I can't imagine, because in my mind, chemo was, you're going to be sick all the time. You're going to be vomiting. And my thought was, I can't be vomiting with this surgery that I just had. My stomach muscles are,
Mm-hmm.
And so when she was saying that, she says, "Well, we give you medicine to stop. We don't want you vomiting all the time and everything." But it was just happening so quick that they set up all my next 6 chemo treatments. They set up everything, and that's what it was. I looked at my husband and I said, "I'm going to just live from doctor's appointment to doctor's appointment. That's what my life is now." And it's scary. It's very scary, and it's mentally hard.
How much did it suck to lose your hair?
So I had my first chemo treatment on June 19th. My hair was down to the middle of my back, and I've always had long hair. I've never, ever in my life had short hair except when I was a kid until my hair got long. And I've always had long hair. And so first chemo treatment was June 19th. And when I went to the oncologist the week before, he said, okay, so you're going to have your chemo treatment. He said, you will lose your hair within 2 weeks. And that hit me just sitting in the office. That hit me and like, oh yeah, I have cancer. I'm going to lose my hair from chemo. And so I did my chemo, and it was July 2nd. My hair was, it was falling out. And I know that it's hard to picture because people tell you that. They say, oh yeah, their hair fell out, and then they just shaved it. And I would get up off the couch and it would just be sitting on the back of the couch. And then it got to the point where I could just run my fingers through and start pulling it out. And it was 2 weeks to the day that we shaved it. We had fun. We had fun with my kids. We cut it. We gave myself bangs. We took pictures. We laughed about it. And because, what else are you going to do with it, right? And so we shaved it. And good thing was it was all through the summer. So I didn't have to deal with my long hair all through the summer. So I made the best of it. Showers were easy. I don't understand what takes so long for people with short hair to shower. But
were you ever at any time just like angry at God? Like, why me?
I was. I was very angry in the beginning. And I want to say the first, until I had my surgery and then I did my chemo, I think the very first chemo treatment I did was when I accepted what was happening to me, and then I wasn't angry, and then I turned to God and was praying every day and reading my Bible, and from that point forward, that was like a turning point. I don't know why that day. It was surreal because I sat down, and the poor girl that did my chemo treatment, the very first one, I started crying, and she felt bad. And I know she sees this every day, but I don't know why, but I think mine touched her differently. And I want to say it was because like the very first chemo treatment that I had, I was 52, and looking at everybody else that was in there having chemo, they were all older. And I think that she resonated with me because I was her age.
Tell us,
so,
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, that's okay. Tell us, Gail, about your Instagram and your, because you did something really unique. You chronicled your journey through Instagram.
So, I had a lot of people who supported me, and I had great family, great friends. I got cards every week from people in the mail. That was the best part. And I'm telling you, if you know somebody that's going through chemo or going through a cancer treatment of any kind like that, I got a card from a couple people that I have, friends of mine. They sent me a card every single week. And it wasn't just like every Monday or anything, but during the week. And then I got flowers quite a bit from one of my friends. And that was the best thing. And I thought, oh my gosh, I wish everybody going through this had these people in their lives that would do this for them. And some people cooked meals. They just random things. I would get an Amazon package that might have something in it that I like. And it was just random stuff like that. So when it got towards the end, and I finished the chemo and made it through all that, and then I did my last scan, I thought to myself, I don't want people to be sad for me. I don't want people to cry for me because I'm going through this, or I don't want people to cry for themselves when they're going through it, because that was tough. I would cry, but I always had somebody with me. I was never like alone crying. And I just thought if everybody could have the support system that I had and keep the positivity, because my husband is a very, very positive person. So what I did was I started an Instagram page, and it's called @Gails_journey. And I started an Instagram page, and it wasn't until March that I started it. And I just started promoting positivity. started sharing my story over and over of how, I went through this and kept positive. And if it wasn't for the positivity, I don't know that I would have been strong enough mentally to get through it. And, if you're not strong mentally, then that starts to wear on the physical part of the body as well. So I started the Instagram page, and I have, in fact, this morning I was talking to somebody from Indonesia that she has cancer, and I'm just being her support person. And I tell her anytime you need to, reach out to me, and I check in on them every once in a while. I'll just message the people and say, hey, thinking about you. How are you doing? Just to have that person that's thinking about you, that means a lot. So, yeah.
And Gail, give us that Instagram address one more time.
At Gail's_journey.
All right, very good. Gail, thank you for being on the show and sharing your experiences and your gratitude. Because your story is amazing, and I learned so much by being with you and going through that journey with you. Gail, thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe.
And there it is from our second show, my friend Gail, who lost her battle to cancer earlier this month, and I will miss her. I am grateful that I know her. I am grateful for our time together, but it still doesn't make it any easier. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. This has been Generating Gratitude here on WSGW.